Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Our today's topic is collection of data. The present chapter focuses on the collection of data, including the source of data and the methods of collecting data. But before that, we must know why do we collect data? For a student of economics, the purpose of data collection is to understand, analyze, and explain the socio-economic problem. For example, the problem of unemployment or the problem of poverty. While analyzing the problem, we also try to understand the cause behind the problem as also the possible solution. So the entire exercise needs a comprehensive support of numerical facts called data. Now, the first point is primary and secondary source of data. What's primary source of data? Primary source of data implies collection of data from its source of origin. It offers you first-hand quantitative information relating to your statistical study. So, now you want to know about the quality of life of the people in your town. You may like to understand that the quality of life in terms of per capita expenditure of different households in your town. You decide to collect the data, basic data yourself through statistical survey, of course with the help of investigators or field workers. While doing this exercise, you are relying on primary source of data. This primary source of data implies the collection of data from its source of origin. It offers you first-hand quantitative information relating to your statistical study. Now, you or your team of investigators are contacting the respondents. You know, respondents means the people who offering basic information. So, you or your team of investigators are contacting the respondents and obtaining the desired content information on per capita expenditure of different households in your town. So that's the primary source of data. Now, what is the secondary source of data? Secondary source of data implies collection of data from some agency or institution which already happens to have collected the data through statistical survey. It does not offer you first-hand information relating to your statistical study. You ought to rely on the information which is already existing. Now, we will continue with our previous example. That means the data relating to the quality of life of the people of your town, or we can say the data on the per capita expenditure. So, the data relating to the quality of life may have already been collected by the state government. You can simply approach the concerned government department and request for the desired information. This will be a secondary source of data for you. Thus, secondary source implies that the desired statistical information already exists and you are simply to collect it from the concerned agency or the department. You are not to conduct statistical survey yourself and you are not to contact the respondents. Of course, you are not getting first-hand information relating to your statistical study. You are simply relying on the information which is already existing. Now, we can say the primary source of collecting data offers you primary data and the secondary source of data offers you secondary data. Now, what is the difference between primary data and secondary data? Primary data, the data collected by the investigator for his own purpose for the first time from beginning to end is called primary data. These are collected from the source of origin, or we can say in the words of Wessel, data originally collected in the process of investigation are known as primary data. According to Wessel, data collected by the other person are also called secondary data. All this information would be termed as secondary data because it's not first-hand information, and the first-hand information is called primary data and the secondary data is not first-hand information. You're collecting it from somewhere else. See, now what is the principal difference between primary data and secondary data? The first point here is the difference in originality. Primary data are original because these are collected by the investigator from the source of origin, right? Against this, secondary data are already in existence and therefore are not original. The second point here is difference in the suitability of the objective. Primary data are always related to specific objective of the investigator. These data therefore do not need any adjustment for the concerned study. On the other hand, secondary data have been collected for some other purpose. Therefore, these data need to be adjusted to suit the objectives of the study in hand. So, the third point here is the difference in cost of collection. Primary data are costlier in terms of time, money, and efforts involved than the secondary data. This is because primary data are collected for the first time from their source of origin, and secondary data are simply collected from the published or unpublished reports. Accordingly, these are much less expensive. So, what we have learned here, what's primary and secondary source of data, and what's the difference between the primary and secondary data. Now in next chapter we will learn about how basic data is collected. That means the mode of collection. But in this chapter you have to keep one thing also in your mind, that there is no fundamental difference between primary and secondary data. Data are data, whether primary or secondary. These are classified as primary or secondary data just on the basis of their collection, first hand or second hand. Thus, particular set of data when collected by the investigator for a specific purpose from the source of origin would be primary data, and same set of data when used by some other investigator for his own purpose would be termed as secondary data. Thank you very much.